And good evening, New Mexico. In just a few days, our state will crown our new high school football champions. And while fans are going back and forth on who they think will come out on top, they're also debating where those games should be played. In fact, it's a discussion that comes up every season and even in between. But it's gaining even more traction after a certain someone, you could say, entered the chat.
So could a decades-old rule actually change, and would you even want it to? Our Monica Logronio got a crash course on the process as it stands right now, and also why some people say it's long overdue for a change. So, Monica, why is this back and forth suddenly getting turned up a notch?
Well, guys, it was likely these posts on X by UNM Athletics Director Fernando Lobo. So he was responding to a fan who asked if UNM could host the high school football championships. Lobo essentially said UNM would love to have that opportunity, and if it made sense for the New Mexico Activities Association, they're ready to make it happen. So here's how it works now. So those playoff and championship games are played on a who owes who basis. Look at the current 6A situation. Las Cruces, the #1 seed, will play the #2 Cleveland Storm this Saturday for the championship in Rio Rancho. That's because the last time the two teams met in the playoffs, they battled in Las Cruces. I spoke to New Mexico sports broadcaster Adam Deal about where this tradition even started.
It was an unseeded state tournament, and so that's how they would switch it to make it fair. So last time, you would have Goddard play at Artesia. Well, now we're going to flip it this time because there was no team who was a higher seed and deserved that game at home.
But Deal and plenty of others from what we've seen on social media argues it's an outdated and oftentimes unfair system. Again, look at the Las Cruces Bulldogs. They've had to travel for every playoff game this season, although they're ranked #1. But because they owed all those schools, they had to travel.
And not only is that outdated, it should be a bigger field. We should play this at bigger venues like UNM Stadium where it's centralized.
And there's another piece of this puzzle and why this decades-long debate went to a new level after Fernando Lobo's post on X. It set off a lively debate about whether all state high school football championships should be played at UNM or even NMSU, similar to how other states do it. A lot of supporters say it would give athletes the often once-in-a-lifetime experience of playing on a college field. So we brought that question to you, and a majority, about 59%, said the championship game should be played at one of the universities, and some people suggested alternating. Now, others in our poll said the top seeds should host it because they earned it. Now, they also brought up the cost of traveling to Albuquerque or Las Cruces, although in the current situation, lots of families are traveling regardless for those championships. Now, very few from what we saw believe it should stay the way it is, but those supporting it like the chance to play at home or to travel at a rival team's field. Now, keep in mind other high school sports in our state like basketball, golf, track, and baseball hold their state tournaments and championships at UNM. So why is football different? That's why we asked the NMAA. In a statement, the executive director, Dusty Young, said basketball and football differ greatly in capacity needs, scheduling logistics, and postseason structures. He went on to say the pit is great for basketball, but football championships currently use a different format with what our school members' schools have supported. Now, right now, Young says those schools haven't asked to move to a university football facility, but he did say NMAA is open to those conversations. He also said tournament formats are reviewed regularly by those member teams, and if there was any interest in other options, the NMAA board of directors would have the final say. However, the process does involve coaches and athletic directors across the state. Tessa, Trevor.
Great job explaining it. I have a feeling this clip's going to be reposted a lot of times on social media. Monica, great job. Thank you. Now, of course, we're going to have to wait and see what the future holds. But for now, the state high school football championships are set for this coming Saturday, and they're going to happen all throughout New Mexico. We start with New Mexico Class 2A. Eunice High will travel to Texaco to take on the top-seeded Wolverines. In 3A, Dexter will host St. Michael's. And in the Metro for the 4A title, St. Pius will take on Bloomfield. The 5A showdown getting a lot of attention, as it usually does. Top-seeded Artesia will face #2 Roswell at the Bulldog Bowl. And then, as Monica went over, Cleveland High School is hoping to take its 6th state championship in 7 years. The Storm will take on the top-ranked Las Cruces Bulldogs in Rio Rancho for the 6A title. All those games kick off Saturday afternoon at 1.